Welcome back for more Tale of Despereaux, everybody. Today we are about to start the third section, so book the third, which is called Gore, the Tale of Miggery Sow. And we learned about her, a little bit about her yesterday. So now in this series of chapters, we will learn all about her. Ready? Okay. Chapter 24. The title of chapter 24 is called A Handful of Cigarettes, a Red Tablecloth, and a Hen. Does that remind you of anything? It's like I can almost hear you. Are you saying the prisoner? If you're saying the prisoner, you're absolutely right. Let's see what Miggery Sow has to do with the prisoner. Before I start, does anybody want to make any predictions? I think I heard some. I think those sound pretty good. Okay, let's go. Again, reader, we must go backward before we can go forward. With that said, here begins a short history of the life and times of Miggery Sow, a girl born into this world many years before Despereaux and the Rat Rescuer, a girl born from a castle, a girl named for her father's favorite prize-winning pig. Miggery Sow was 6 years old when her mother, holding on to Mig's hand, staring directly into Mig's eyes, died. Sorry. I know that's sad. I don't know why they always kill the mother in these stories. Fairy tales. But, like life is sometimes sad, right? Okay, let's keep going. Ma, said Mig. Ma, couldn't you stay here with me? Oh, said her mother, who is that? Who is that holding my hand? It's me, Ma, Miggery Sow. Ah, child, let me go. But, Ma, I want you to stay here, said Miggery, wiping first at her running nose and then at her runny eyes. You want, said her mother. Yes, Mig, said I want. Ah, child, what does it matter what you want, said her mother, and she squeezed Mig's hand once, twice, and then she died, leaving Mig all alone with her father, who, on market day, in the spring, soon after his wife's death, sold his daughter into service for a handful of cigarettes, a red tablecloth, and a hen. I think you guys made the right prediction. That's what her dad did. Her dad traded her. Could you imagine? Oh. Good thing that we have the families that we have, and your parents would never in a million years trade you for a red tablecloth, a handful of cigarettes, and a hen. In fact, I guarantee they would trade you for nothing. Papa, said Meg, when her father was walking away from her with the hen in his arms, a cigarette in his mouth, and a red tablecloth draped across his shoulders like a cape. Go on, Mig, he said. You belong to that man now. I don't want to go, Papa, she said. I want to go with you. And she took hold of the red tablecloth and tugged on it. Lord, child, her father said, and who is asking you what you want? Go on. He untangled her fingers from the cloth and turned her in the direction of the man who had bought her. Mig watched her father walk away, the red tablecloth billowing out behind him. He left his daughter. And, reader, as you already know, he did not look back, not even once. Can you imagine it? Can you imagine your father selling you for a red tablecloth, a hen, and a handful of cigarettes? Close your eyes, please, and consider it for just a moment. Done? I hope that the hair on the back of your neck stood up as you thought of Mig's fate and how it would be if it were your own. Don't worry, it's not going to happen to you. I promise it's not going to happen to you. Don't worry about it. Poor Mig, what will become of her? You must, frightened as you may be, read on to see for yourself. Reader, it is your duty. I love how Kate DiCamilla talks to us, especially in times when we're feeling kind of sad because we're learning about poor Miggery Sow. I'm going to tell you, it is a really sad part of the story. But I promise you I would not read you a story that is just all sadness. There is some good in it too, right? Let's keep reading. Chapter 25, A Vicious Circle. Vicious means mean. And Miggery Sow called the man who purchased her uncle, as he said she must. And also, as he said she must, Mig tended the uncle's sheep and cooked the uncle's food and scrubbed the uncle's kettle. She did all of this without a word of thanks or praise from the man himself. He seems to be just as bad as her parents. Another unfortunate fact of life with Uncle was that he very much liked giving Mig what he referred to as a good clout to the ear. In fairness to Uncle, it must be reported that he did not always inquire or ask whether or not Mig is interested in receiving the clout. Do you know what a clout to the ear is? Can you guess what it might be? Because the author already told us what her ears look like. Do you remember yesterday we found out that her ears look like cauliflower, and cauliflower looks like green broccoli? So her ears are kind of bigger than they're supposed to be, and all lumpy. So what do you think a clout to the ear means? He hits her in the ear. I know, it's horrible. It's horrible. We have to get through the sad chapters to get to the good chapters. Their daily exchanges went something like this. Uncle: I thought I told you to clean the kettle. Mig: I cleaned it, Uncle. I cleaned it good. Uncle: It's filthy. You'll have to be punished, won't you? Mig: Gore, Uncle, I cleaned the kettle. Uncle: Are you saying that I'm a liar, girl? Mig: No, Uncle. Uncle: Do you want a good clout to the ear then? Mig: No, thank you, Uncle. I don't. Alas, Uncle seemed to be entirely unconcerned with what Mig wanted, as her mother and father had been. The discussed clout to the ear was always delivered, I'm afraid, with a great deal of enthusiasm on Uncle's part, and received with absolutely no enthusiasm at all on Mig's part. So, he was excited about it. She wasn't. These clouts were alarmingly frequent, and Uncle was fair in paying attention to both the right and the left side of Miggery Sow. So it was that after a time, the young Mig's ears came to resemble not so much ears as pieces of cauliflower stuck to either side of her head. And they became about as useful to her as pieces of cauliflower. That is to say, they all but ceased or stopped functioning as ears. Words for Mig lost their sharp edges, and then they lost their edges together and became blurry, blankety things that she had a great deal of trouble making any sense out of all. In other words, she couldn't hear with them. They didn't work. And the less Mig heard, the less she understood. The less she understood, the more things she did wrong, and the more things she did wrong, the more clouts to the ear she received, and the less she heard. This is what's known as a vicious circle, and Miggery Sow is right at the center of it. Does that make sense? Remember how I said vicious means mean, and a circle keeps going around, right? So she can't hear very good, so she doesn't hear what her uncle tells her to do, so then he gets mad and he clouts her in the ear. And then after he clouts her in the ear, her ear gets worse and she could hear less. And because she could hear less, she's not hearing what he's telling her. And so she does something wrong and he gets mad and he hits her in the ear. Her ear gets worse, keeps going around in a circle. And there's nothing, in a vicious circle, there's nothing you can do to get out of it. Poor Meg. So just a little bit left in this chapter. And Miggery Sow is right in the center of the vicious circle, which is not, reader, where anybody would want to be. But then, as you know, what Miggery Sow wanted had never been a concern to anyone. Sorry, these were not exciting chapters today, were they? They're kind of sad. But it's really important that we know the history of this character for the rest of the story. So, I'm going to end on those two chapters. Even though they were sad, nothing very exciting or happy happened. I hope you enjoyed these couple chapters of Tale of Despereaux, and I'll see you again tomorrow to hear more. Bye, everybody.